after all the entertaining and festivities of the holidays, I often feel like eating a little bit lighter and fresher, even though it's still winter and not quite spring yet. And in today's video, I'm going to share some easy dishes and meals with you that fit exactly that bill and that are German inspired, or German dishes, German recipes that you can easily cook in your own kitchen.
My first recipe that I cannot get enough of is Pellkartoffeln mit Quark. And that is basically boiled potatoes with German Quark, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. So I'm going to start with adding the potatoes to the water and boiling them. And once they're boiled, I'm adding Quark, which is a German fresh cheese that's not quite like ricotta or sour cream. It's somewhere in between, but it's a really fresh, light, high in protein milk product that's a little bit like ricotta or like a fresh cheese that I make from milk and buttermilk. And I'm going to leave a recipe in the description box for you below if you want to make your own. Part of this dish is adding a lot of herbs to it, and mostly I'm just going to go for parsley because that's growing in my garden right now. And if you haven't seen this particular tool here that's inherited from my grandparents, it's called a Wiege Messer. It's basically a Mezzaluna, and it's really nice and big and it fits my hands well, and it does the job of chopping the parsley or whatever herbs I'm chopping into really small fine pieces, and I just absolutely love that. Here the potatoes are done, and it's really a simple, easy, but super healthy dish. And you can peel the potatoes. I typically eat them with the peel because a lot of vitamins are sitting right on or underneath the peel. So especially if they're clean, I don't mind eating the peel. And this dish is being finished with a bunch of flax seed oil. You want to get a high quality one and you pour that over. And trust me on this one, once you try it, you will absolutely know why I love this so much. We also love having Salat mit Salatsauce. That's a German salad dressing, which is a little bit different than many American salad dressings. And it is a little bit dairy based. I'm starting with a yogurt here because it's a Greek yogurt. The whey has separated, and I'm adding that. And then I'm adding some oil to it just to make it a little bit fuller in flavor and not quite so flat tasting. And instead of vinegar, I'm using lemon, a lot of fresh lemon. You want to probably, you can see the size of this lemon here. You probably want to squeeze about half of the lemon, all the juice out into this salad dressing. And it has a different taste because it doesn't have any vinegar. I'm adding just a pinch of sugar, you just like between two fingers. That's all it needs. You want to round out the flavor. You don't want it to taste sweet, but you just want to go careful, and you can always add a little bit more later. Then I'm mixing it up. A little bit of salt just to bring out all the flavors. And I'm going to give this a good whirl. And then from my garden, I have parsley. I have, what is this? Chives, dill. I have some borage, and I have, let's see what else I had in there. Oh, and yarrow and a little bit of sour sorrel. So this is my herb combination. I think that dill is probably the most iconic German herb, but you can use any number of herbs that you like. Tarragon is really well, and lovage, and so there's a lot of different herbs you can use. They all go in the dressing, and the more the better. There's no real measurements. I am going to leave a link for the recipe below, but kind of just mix it as you go. And here it is. And the traditional way to serve this dressing is with a butter lettuce. That's the typical German type of lettuce. Here it is. My next recipe is going to be a Celery Zuper, a root celery soup or celery root soup. I never know which one it really is. And here I found one that had the green on top, which is what you typically get in the United States, which are the celery stalks. The root celery, if you have not tried it, it's definitely worth your attention. It is a root. It is pretty tough, but don't be swayed by it. And then the bottom has all these little crooks and crannies, and crannies. You'll have to clean that up a little bit, but it has a really nice nutty mild flavor. It's not bitter at all. It's a little bit like a turnip, but you really have to try it, and it's so delicious and really, really healthy, especially for the spring. I know that for many of you, you still have a lot of snow, but in California, we're getting warmer, milder weather, so this is actually really perfect for a fresh dish after the heavy holiday meals. I'm adding that little chunk to a pot and adding some water. Obviously, the smaller the chunks, the faster it will cook. But here, they're about maybe an inch or so. And then I cook them until they're tender. From the other night, from my Quark and Pellkartoffeln, from my boiled potatoes and quark dish, I had some potatoes left over. And I am peeling them because I want to add them. If you don't have boiled potatoes, you can always cut up a raw potato and add it to the celery. Once the celery is all soft, I'm adding the potatoes and the celery chunks to my Vitamix blender container. And I want to be careful because sometimes when you add all the liquid and then, oops, stuff happens, add all of it to the container, it splatters immensely, and then you have that all over the kitchen. So you want to be really careful. I need a little bit more water and then bouillon that brings out the flavors just a little bit more than simple salt. You can always add salt, but I find that bouillon has a deeper flavor and it's just a really better addition to this. And then I'm going to blend it up into a nice puree. You can also use an immersion blender, but for me, the Vitamix is just really the way to go. It just almost pulverizes it, and it's going to be so silky smooth. And yes, you can always add some sour cream to it or cream if you like, but ideally you just blend it and then you don't need to do anything else with it. Then I'll put it back in the pot because I want to adjust the seasonings a little bit. You can add more salt to it. I will be adding some lemon to it. You can add some nutmeg to it. Like I said, you can have some salt, and just keep on trying it as you go because you will definitely know when it's seasoned right for you. Mine is a little thick, and that's why I'm decided to add a little bit more water. And here goes fresh ground pepper, a little salt, and this is the consistency here. It's really creamy, and then it's super delicious. The next dish is a Krautpfanne. I don't really know how to say that in English. Maybe a cabbage one pot, one cabbage skillet, if you will. Here is my tallow that I rendered some time ago, and today is the day when everything is just doing its own thing. The whole chunk of tallow comes out. I don't want all of that. I just want a little bit, but because I keep it in the freezer and it keeps for a really long time, it is pretty solid. And once it's melted, I'm adding my chopped onions to it to saute them in the tallow. The tallow will have a bit of a beefy, gamey taste, but we actually like it. And I personally think that tallow is really healthy and has a lot of vitamins and good nutrients in it. Sometimes I do go the convenience route, and that is why I'm choosing the pre-shredded green cabbage from Trader Joe's. You can also get a head of cabbage and just chop it finely if you want to go all fresh, but sometimes, convenience trumps, and, we're all trying to do the best we can at any given time. I know my skillet is a little small for this big chunk of cabbage here, but you'll see it's going to sink down so much that you barely know that it's going to be left over. And to saute it, I'm adding just again a little bit more water and also some bouillon because, again, just for the taste. I don't know, you've seen me add it to a lot of things, and it's one of the staples that I go through a lot in this household because it adds so much flavor and so many different types of flavor to it. I'll let that sit for a little bit. You could cook it down for half an hour. I don't need to do that and cook it to death. So I'm just want it to be soft. And then I'm going to add some of my own sour cream to it. Lots of sour cream. This is going to bring out the dish and add a nice, slightly tart creaminess to it. And then I'm adding some flour to thicken it. This was spelt flour, but you can use regular flour. And if you go gluten-free, you can also use cornstarch, but then you would have to mix it up with some other liquid that's cold and then add it. But I want to cook it just a little bit so that the flour has a chance to thicken the whole dish. And as the sour cream is melting, it's going to also be more liquid. And again, seasoning with some Himalayan salt and some fresh ground pepper. You can also add a little bit of lemon juice or maybe a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. There's a lot of things you can do. Next, I have a really nice smoky andouille sausage, and I just want to heat it in the cabbage. I don't want to necessarily cook it. This one is pre-cooked. I just want to heat it up and I let it sit in the hot cabbage. You can serve it with some potatoes or just as it is if you like it a little bit more paleo.
I hope that you felt inspired, and let me know if you have any questions about any of these recipes or these dishes. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.